Hey, happy Saturday. Welcome to Hobby Evolution episode number 16. Today, adventures in retail baseball cards. I talked a little bit about my experience talking with the card vendor last week after running into him on Friday at Target. I didn't run into the vendor yesterday, but I will share some things that I saw. Before we get to that, I do want to share my Topps 2020 Topps Chrome breaks. I finished off yesterday. I opened a couple packs and a blaster box here on Hobby Evolution. I didn't get any cards yesterday, so I ended up just breaking the last of what I had. So in total, I bought 6 blaster boxes, 9 of the value packs with the pink refractors, and then 1 hanger box. No Luis Roberts, except for a pair of the 85 inserts. But it was loaded with hits. I pulled 2 autographs in just 6 blasters, 9 hanger packs. 1 autograph came in a blaster. 1 autograph came in actually both. I think both autographs came in blaster boxes. Pulled 15 total Cubs, including several hits. Pulled a Javier Baez pink refractor, Nico Horner 85, Chris Bryant reverse black and white negative, which I didn't realize how common those were to pull. I pulled 3 of them in what I bought. Also a Chris Bryant pink and an Anthony Rizzo base refractor. I pulled a sepia Javi Baez, so I guess I had more than 15. I'll have to search for my other pile of Cubs because I did pull a Javi sepia in one of the blaster boxes. So that's what I pulled in Topps Chrome. Couple mail days yesterday. I picked up a Sports Illustrated 1994. It's got, looks like Rick Wilkins is on the cover of this. This is from the strike season of 94. I picked that up for like 99 cents. You're probably asking why Sports Illustrated. The reason is I was going through last weekend. I was going through some boxes in my basement looking for a picture for a blog I have actually written, but I'm waiting for a picture from my childhood. I looked through pictures. My mom's still looking through pictures at my childhood home. Cannot find a picture of what I'm looking for. I do have like a stock photo that I can use that is pretty similar, but I kind of wanted my own personal picture for this blog post. So if my mom doesn't find it today, I'll probably publish the blog later today or tomorrow. So the reason why I bought this Sports Illustrated is that I have a lot of Sports Illustrateds, a lot of Vine lines, a lot of Baseball Americas, sporting news, and I've always liked how Sports Illustrated magazines display in binders. So I was going through and I thought, hey, I should get the run of Cubs Sports Illustrated covers. So I picked that up for cheap. I was able to find a Ron Santo from like the 60s for like $10, Leon Durham from 84 for like $5. So it's just kind of a side Cubs project that I'm going to try to get the run of Cubs Sports Illustrated covers and put them in a big 3-ring binder. So for the cards that came, only one package, but look at this one. This is from Jason in Ohio, and it's a large flat rate box. I have not gone through that or the medium that came the other day from Michael in Kansas City, so I need to get those. I've been behind on, not behind, but I'm chasing my tail with trade packages going out as well as eBay sold items. So good thing and a bad thing. So today it's raining, so that takes away my yard work privileges today. So I'll have some extra time to spend down here in the card room and getting caught up. So Adventures in retail baseball cards is today's topic, and what a topic it has become in the hobby. It's it's been a very whew, divisive topic. Um, I was called a greedy loser yesterday on Twitter for the simple fact of going to Target in search of baseball cards above the board. Uh, and I just shared what I saw, and I was called a greedy loser, and then an F bomb was dropped, and the guy's going to leave the hobby. So the hobby doesn't need people like that. I'm glad to see him go. Hopefully, he's true to his word and is in fact quitting the hobby. So what I posted and what I saw, um, Friday is the typical stock day at our area Targets, um, and I basically know his schedule, and that's how people are finding retail baseball, basketball, whatever the hot product is. I guess soccer's hot now. I found that out yesterday, just milling around waiting for the card vendor. Um, how did I find out? Somebody asked me last night after my post, do you use an app or a website? And no, it's good old fashioned detective work, footwork. I found out I've been collecting retail since it was not cool. I have always been a retail card fan because I don't have to spend $100 for a hobby box and get a $5 auto. Um, Obviously, look behind me. I'm a volume collector, and you can get more cards. Um, at retail for, price per card is a lot less in most cases than what you would in a hobby box. Yeah, you're not going to find in most cases you're not going to find a hot shiny autograph in retail, though that has changed in the last couple of years. It's retail isn't garbage anymore. They're putting some good stuff in blaster boxes, hence why we're seeing what we're seeing. um, so I started getting back into the hobby. My return to the hobby, um, to the point where it is now, and buying collections and really diving deep into the hobby, started in the summer of 2014. I had moved. I'm here in Madison, Wisconsin. I had moved, didn't know anybody. Moved here for a job, didn't know a single person. So the first few weeks that I was here, um, I would spend a Friday night. I would go to Target. It was just down the street from my apartment. I would buy 4 or 5 blaster boxes and a 6 pack of beer and a frozen pizza, and that's how I would spend the first few weeks of my new city. Um, and I enjoyed it, and that turned into really getting back into the hobby. It started with Target runs for a few blaster boxes. Um, it evolution. It evolved into buying a small collection on Craigslist, and then it just snowballed from there. So back in 2014, 15, 16, you could go to Target at any time of the week, any time of the day, and you could find whatever you wanted: baseball cards, basketball cards, football cards, the newest product. It was always there. Um, there were even, and every once in a while, I will see these clearance boxes at Walmart. Target, I have not seen a clearance box since probably 2016, maybe 2017. But I have at Walmart's where they'll put last year's products. They don't do that anymore. I have seen within the last year at Walmart's the clearance boxes, but they're filled with stickers and NASCAR and score football that nobody wants. You're not going to find last year's Tops update or Allen and Ginter Bowman. None of that will be found in clearance boxes. Um, So what it has turned into, and really it started in 2017, midway through the year, it was Aaron Judge mania. Um, Aaron Judge really took off. In fact, I was buying cases in 2017, which was the last year, because then hobby prices really exploded and were not reasonable anymore for what I was doing. Um, Aaron Judge took off in what, May of 2017, because when Topps Heritage came out, Aaron Judge had a rookie. He was in the Yankees with, I don't even, Greg Bird, Tyler Austin, one of those guys. Um, and I sold, in fact, I had a 99-cent auction for all of the Aaron Judge rookies from Heritage I pulled. So I think there were 8 or 9, maybe 10 Aaron Judge rookie cards in a lot, 99-cent auction, no bids. So this was in what, March, April. Um, I put it on again before he got hot, and it sold for 99 cents plus $3 shipping. $4 for 10 Aaron Judge Heritage rookie cards. And then 2 months later, boom, Judge mania, baseball card mania. It took off, and it was crazy. And pre-sale prices exploded. You couldn't find deals anymore. I thought it was short term. My prediction in 2017 was, maybe this stays for next year's early products, but there's no rookies that will explode. I was wrong. Shohei Ohtani showed up, and so did, then boom, name your rookie: Acuna, Soto, Gleyber Torres, and 18 is filled with rookies, and Ohtani's probably not even in the top 10 right now. He probably makes the bottom end of the top 10 in 2018 rookies for hobby value. Definitely not top 5 with Soto, Acuna, Gleyber. Shane Bieber right now is super hot. So, and of course that's going to fluctuate. So retail is where I went in 2017, 2018. I was selling sport lots. I changed my hobby strategy. Actually in 2017, because my hobby strategy in December of 2017 was the 1 million Cubs project. And so therefore I wasn't selling on sport lots as much. I still sold for a few months into 2018. And I think I took my sport lot store down August of 2018. And then all of a sudden hobby or retail is starting to pick up in 2018 with Bowman mega boxes. That was the chase. Retail only products like Topps Gallery for a brief minute. Bowman Platinum, holy cow. I remember chasing, going town to town, trying to find Bowman Platinum and coming up empty. And that's kind of in those products now are, not really, wanted. Now it's just every product, I guess. And so then this year, and we didn't see it as crazy until 2020. People were chasing the hot product in 2018, 2019 in retail outlets, but not what we're seeing now. And I think the first product that I noticed, it was Bowman, and I was able to find some Bowman, but not much. And I ran into the vendor a few times when Bowman came out. In fact, whatever basketball product came out at the same time as Bowman. So this is what, end of May. I'd actually passed on basketball 2 or 3 times. He's stocking, and the vendor even asks me, do you want basketball? And I said, no, I don't collect basketball. I'll take some Bowman. And he had 30 boxes of Bowman. I grabbed, I think, 10 or 12 blasters, left some for the kids. I passed on the basketball, and then I looked, the basketball prices were crazy. So I did run into him, I think, a third time. And that time I picked up 8 or 9 blasters of basketball and flipped them in like 2 hours on eBay. And that was the end of running into the vendor and getting whatever was released that day, that week. Because a couple weeks later, maybe 2 weeks later, I go into Target I know the vendor stocks this particular store in the lunch hour. I think I had the day off. I went there and there's 5 people waiting for the card vendor. I couldn't believe it. Um, because I've seen retail over the last 5, 6 years, and from where it was 3, 4 years ago to people actually waiting for the card vendor at Target, this is absolutely insane. And that's how it's been here in the last 2 months, because that was early June. Um, and then what I saw yesterday and what I've seen on social media over the last couple of weeks has just been insanity. I saw some reports this week on Twitter. There was a fist fight, and who knows if these stories are accurate, but I wouldn't. It doesn't surprise me. I'm sure these are true stories. There was a fist fight over cards. There was security escorting the card vendor. So what I ran into yesterday, I had lunch, went on my lunch break to the Target store he stocks at that time of day, and somebody that I'd met waiting for the card vendor a few weeks ago had sent me a message, and this was at 10:30 or 11 o'clock that morning. 15 people were there, and a few have left, have come and gone. And that was 10:30 or 11 o'clock in the morning, and he's never stocked that store that early. I think noon is usually the earliest that I've seen him, and sometimes as late as 1:30. So people are waiting hours, 15 of them, hours for the card guy. So I just wanted to see this for myself. At that point, when I first saw that message, it's like, I'm not even going to waste my time if there's 15 people already waiting for the cards. So then I thought about it. I've got to see this. this is insane. I just want to see 15 people waiting for the baseball card guy. And the reactions by people asking, what are you waiting for? What's going on? And Target employees just with their eyes wide open in disbelief over people waiting for baseball cards. So when I got there, sure enough, there were about 15, and I did a head count. And when I got there at 12:30, there were 17 people waiting for the card guy. Most of the people waiting, and I'll give kind of a demographics report on who was there waiting for the cards. It was actually a pretty mixed bag. I'm in my late 30s. There were probably a few guys around my age, and the older we get, around my age tends to increase quite a bit. So I would say anywhere between late 20s and early 40s. There were probably five or six of the 17, in that age range. There were probably 6 or 8 like high school age kids, which is great because a couple of years ago we wanted high school age kids in the hobby because the hobby was going to die because it's all old guys and no new kids are coming in to collect. Well, now they are, and people are complaining because they're flippers and they're not real. They're not real collectors. Well, who's a real collector? I mean, they're buying the product. They're selling the product, so somebody's buying it. Somebody wants it. More than one people want it. So I won't go off on that soapbox. But to finish my demographics report, so probably 6, 7, 8 high school age kids, probably 6, 7, 8 guys in their 20s to 40s. One mom was sent. So that was probably so my numbers don't really add up. Well, 8, yeah. So 17. So it was a mix. It was about half high school, college age kids, and it was about half older adults. And then there were some guys. So 17 is the number of people that were just congregating. Okay. Because there were several people that I saw, and I waited about 20 minutes and then left. So in that 20-minute time span, there were at least 10 that I saw check in. They were more discreet. They weren't standing there loitering. They were walking around, milling about the store, checking in. Hey, where's the card guy? So in total, in the 20-minute period that I was at Target, I would say a conservative estimate of 25 to 30 people were there looking for cards in that 20-minute time period. And I think there were probably more that walked in and saw 17 people hanging out at the card section and said, screw it, I'm out. Um, I knew the one guy that was there. He's the one that tipped me off. So that's the only reason I probably stuck around, because I could chat with him. If I didn't know anybody that was there waiting, I wouldn't have waited. And then at one point, I saw two security guards, and the guy that messaged me, he said that the Target employee had told him the vendor usually messages him, so he must be a Target manager, that he's on his way. And so this same Target manager was walking with these security guards. And then at one point, one of the security guards kind of posted up near the entrance where the vendor comes in. So I think he was waiting to be escorted in. However, I waited a few more minutes and I had to get back to work. But I left and went back to work, got tipped off. The vendor was still like an hour later, still never showed up. So that's when I thought, I bet he flip-flopped his schedule, because he typically stocks that store at that time in the noon hour. And he actually told me his schedule in one of my before all this craziness. I don't think he'd tell anybody his schedule now, but when nobody's stocking the card section, he shared his schedule with me. Stocks that store. He stocks another store in the morning, this store in the noon hour. He takes lunch and then goes to the other store. So at this point, I thought maybe I will check out the other store because it's close by. And I bet he flip-flopped schedule. So after work, made a quick drive over to the Target closest to me. And sure enough, there was nobody waiting. So that was my first sign, because I'm sure there were people waiting. Nobody was waiting, and I can always tell after he's been there because he does a great job at making it look nice. So if it looks nice, he's probably recently been there, because you've all seen the pictures of retail stores with card sections in complete disarray. That means it's probably been at least 24 hours since the vendor is stocked, because typically, and I'm sure most of them want to make it look nice after they stock it. They're not going to leave it in disarray. Customers will. So it was very nicely faced. And there was new product, because I'd gone in a couple days prior for non-baseball card purposes, pick up deodorant or something. So there was Optic. There were the mega boxes of Optic. There were blasters. There was Diamond Kings. Maybe even some Series 2. There was a ton of football, prestige football. So there was a lot of cards there. So if he did restock basketball or Topps Chrome, it was gone as soon as he got there, with people waiting. So tipped off, my buddy from the other Target said, hey, he's already stocked this store. He's probably on his way back. And he flip-flopped schedules. So by that time, so he went back to the other store, and he had recently stocked no basketball restock. And I think he had some Topps Chrome. And so my buddy picked up, I think, 3 hangers of Topps Chrome. So it was a very interesting day. And, it kind of makes me not want to. I'm not going to compete with 17 other people for baseball cards. I've never been a fan of limits on quantity, but I am now. Because last week, if they didn't limit quantity, I wouldn't have got any basketball, and I flipped it. And it's gonna the profits are gonna bring in some nice Cubs cards. Um, and Topps Chrome wouldn't have had any Topps Chrome to open. So I'm a fan of limiting quantities right now because it's crazy how they do that. I guess that's something they'll have to figure out, though. In my stores last week, I think their process was really good. The first store, they only limited quantity on basketball, and you had to go at the service desk, and they had each, you could buy one of each thing if you so wanted. And they had it basically bundled. So one pack, one hanger, one blaster, one mega of the Basketball Chronicles. I liked that. And then when I went to the other store, the vendor was there. There was a line of, and I thought it was crazy that it was like a line of 6 people in front of me. Thought that was nuts. But they were handing it out. The vendor was up near the service desk, and you went up and requested what you want. Do you want baseball or basketball or both? I'll take both. So the vendor had the Topps Chrome, and he was giving out one fat pack, one hanger box, one blaster box. One of the Target employees was giving out the bundle of basketball. Can they do that week in, week out, store by store? I don't know, but it worked. I liked it. I hope they continue to try to limit quantities. I'm a fan of it now because it is ridiculous. It has reached that tipping point where it's like, because 3 years ago this was what it was to me 3 years ago with hobby, where you couldn't find hobby and it was priced crazy. So I adjusted my buying and went retail only. And now, it's a wild goose chase to find any retail. So it's all about adapting. It's all about evolving. That's the hobby evolution. And if it does, I've seen a lot of people upset. I hate the hobby now. I'm going to quit. Do it. Because if you're that upset, if it bothers you that much, it's not a hobby. It's not a hobby. If you're going to be so upset and tell people to F off and stop following people on Twitter who are in the card community because you're going to quit the hobby, just do it because it's making you upset and angry. And that's not a hobby anymore. That's a stressor, and you need to de-stress and find a new hobby that you can enjoy and have fun. That's what a hobby is. The hobby's still fun for me. I'm just going to have to adapt and evolve and not go to Target at noon or 4, not try to catch the vendor because 20 other people are now. And that should change eventually. Not this year, I don't see. So I'm going to, continue sorting through my mess behind me. And I'm going to sell and trade, and I'm still going to hunt for retail. Next week, Archives comes out. It's one of my favorite products. I say that for every product, but I love Archives. Archives was the top favorite of mine when I returned, when I was dabbling in my return. So my pre-return, in 2012, 2013 was when I kind of started trickling back into the hobby. And Archives was my favorite product because I loved the old designs and the nostalgia that it brought back. So I've kind of lost the luster for Archives because now it's getting tired, and we've had several years of not only Archives but Topps base repeating those 85 and 84 and 83 and 87 and 89 and all those designs where it's like, okay, it's not nostalgic anymore because it's everywhere. So Archives is coming out next week, and I will probably go at noon and 4:30 to look for Archives and hopefully get some. But after that, Allen and Ginter, I'm gonna probably do the same. So I guess I'm not gonna adjust it quite yet, but I'm gonna be a little more, not as quick to track down baseball cards at retail outlets until less than 17 people are waiting for the card guy. Long-winded report today for the Hobby Evolution. Adventures in retail baseball cards. What a crazy world we live in right now, especially in the hobby. So that was the Hobby Evolution today. It is raining outside, so that means I will be hunkered down here catching up on trades. I am behind. I know Zach's watching, so Zach and Porter, I've got some Sox cards coming your way. Let's see if I can find some. I've got some Cardinals for Dan. I've got some Oakland A's for Ben, my buddy, our trading cards. I've got Jesus Luzardo sepia. I've got a Randy Arozarena sepia for the Cardinals. Here's a refractor of Tim Anderson. That's heading your way, Porter. Don't let your dad get it. I've got some Dylan Cease heading their way, too. Here's a chrome, and here's a freshman flash, Dylan Cease. So that stuff's coming your way, Zach and Porter. So I'll be getting to all that today as well. So, hey, thanks for tuning in. And drop a comment if you want. I know Zach dropped a couple comments. Yeah, the days where you could grab packs of cards at gas stations, Ben Franklin. That was back in the day, my barber shop. Back in the early 90s, my barber shop had packs of cards. Back in the early 90s was nuts. You could find cards in my local IGA. That's where I started opening packs, was the local grocery store. They quit selling cards in the mid 90s when it basically tanked, but every corner bomb and pop gas station, everybody was selling cards back in the 80s and 90s. It was a crazy time. And, now it's a crazy time too, just in a different way. So that's going to wrap things up. I've got some packages to get set. And then coming up in 1 hour is Hobby Hotline. Check into Hobby Hotline, one of my favorite podcast programs. It's on YouTube and I think other platforms as well. So check that out. Just search Hobby Hotline here if you're on YouTube. So, hey, that's going to wrap things up. Hobby Evolution, already episode number 16. Tomorrow I'll probably have some stuff to talk about because I'll be basically immersed in the hobby today. Catching up on eBay sales and trade packages. So, and whatever comes in the mail. I made some eBay purchases within the last week to 10 days. And hopefully some cool stuff is coming in the mail today. I know a couple packages are scheduled to arrive. Post office has been kind of crazy lately. So hopefully those do get delivered. So that's going to wrap things up. Hobby Evolution, episode 16. Make sure to subscribe and also visit the website, 1millioncubs.com. Thanks, and have a great Saturday.